Hello. Today's topic is transform the past to manifest the future. The goal of this video is to walk you through an exercise that will help you reframe your past so that you can choose the future that you want. The reason why this topic is so critical is because almost every human alive has shit in the past. And sometimes we think about that and we think about that and we think about what happened, the trauma, blah, 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 blah. And we can sometimes identify ourselves with that. We say things like, well, that's who I am. That's why I am the way that I am. And in order for you to manifest the future, you have to change how you view the past so that the past doesn't repeat itself. So please follow along with the exercises. We're not going to do huge visualization, so you could still probably do this if you're driving, I think. Or better yet, save this video so that you can hear the exercises and then maybe walk through it later, watch it again later when you can meditate if you're not in a quiet place right now. But before we get started, I have a small request for you. Pretty please, with the strawberry on top. Would you please like this video? I'm trying to grow this channel. I would love for as many people as possible to get this information. So if you could like this channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and please feel free to leave a comment. Okay, so we're gonna get back to the topic here. First of all, I want to share a story with you. There was a boy that was born to illiterate parents. Neither one of them could read or write. He ended up being able to do schooling for about a year, but he loved to read. So he would borrow books. He would read anything that he could get his hands on, anything, no matter what it was, didn't care about the topic. He would just read. Didn't have a lot of money because they were ridiculously poor. Then his mother died when he was 9. He went from job to job to job to job, all kinds of random things, doing whatever he could, and he continued to educate himself. So, needless to say, this young boy, his past was pretty limited, significant amounts of poverty, didn't get any sort of gifts, inheritances, advantages, anything like that from his parents, didn't even have school. Yet he went on to become the president of the United States. His name was Abraham Lincoln. His past did not define him. That is what we are going to learn to do today, because every human alive, life is full of tragedy, trauma, loss, disaster, unfortunately, a lot of times abuse. And if we allow our past to form our identity, it will repeat itself, not only in ourselves, but in our children, in our relationships. We are energetic beings, and how we feel and what we believe about our upbringing, about what has happened to us, will affect the future in one way or another, but you get to decide how. Now, that is super important, because I would love to say that the past has nothing to do with the future. You determine the future. You manifest anything that you want. You can have anything that you want. It doesn't matter. The past does not define the future. That's not totally true. The past does contribute to the future, but you are the filter that gets to decide how the past affects the future. So I want you to think about this too, because as energetic beings, as living, thinking souls, as breathing, energetic beings, the past is an event. It is a thing that happens, okay? How can an event form who you are? The first thing I want you to do is I want you to delete the phrase, "That's why I am this way." The past made me who I am. Unless you're wildly successful. But if you're using that as a reason for not succeeding, delete that. Because actually, the only reason why that has been true up until this point is because maybe no one ever taught you how to reframe the past, transform and transcend your past, like Abraham Lincoln did, and use it as fuel to manifest the future of your dreams. So, if you watched any of my other videos, you might have seen my farm. I have animals. I've got goats and pigs and chickens and a lot of them. I've got like 26 goats. And so we produce a lot of shit here. If I let it pile up, it would stink. If I walked through it, it would get all over my shoes and it would be gross. If I let it pile up, it would have lots of flies and it would be super nasty. I would be overrun by it, right? Or I could take that and I could make it into the best fertilizer imaginable, which is what I've done. I've also planted about 300 fruit trees here on my farm in Ecuador, and they just absolutely flourish because I took all the crap and I turned it into fertilizer. And that is what our job is with the past events that have happened to us. Remember, it happened to you. It is not you. Now, I would assume that because you're watching a manifesting video, you're not the type of person that thinks, I am a victim, you know, I am even a survivor. Whatever it is that's happened to you, you get to turn it into fertilizer. Now, I know that can seem challenging, but that's because you didn't know that you could. You know, I'm sure you've heard the term rose-colored glasses. Well, what does that mean? It means that when you have rose-colored glasses on, everything looks pink, right? Or even sunglasses. If you have sunglasses, dark sunglasses on, everything is shades of gray. Everything is sunglassy, right? But the world is in Technicolor. So if you ever worn sunglasses before, dark sunglasses, and then you take the sunglasses off and it's like, oh, you know, it's so bright, you know, and maybe the greens look greener and maybe the reds and the pinks and the blues, it's like, oh. When you feel like the past is negative, it is because you were looking at it through sunglasses. Now, if you've watched my life story, you would know that I have come from my share of shit. I've gone through multiple devastating losses, trauma, growing up in a cult. I mean, I've been through the gauntlet. I get to choose what kind of sunglasses I have on when I look at that. And I get to choose to take that past and transform it into fertilizer, you know, fuel to manifest and create the future that I have decided. So we're going to start the exercise here, but really quick, I'm just going to ask you another favor. Pretty please leave a comment in the comment section, please. That super helps the YouTube algorithm so that other people get to see this video. Even if it's just a heart or a thumbs up or a woohoo, please do that for me. Also, if there's a challenge that you're having with manifesting or there's a question that you have, leave that in the comments and I will make a video just for you. Okay? Okay. All right. So back to our exercise here. So I want you to imagine something from the past, something that's negative, something that you feel holds you back. Maybe it's a lack of education. For this exercise, let's not do something extremely traumatic like abuse. If there's an abuse, you will need a different process for that. You may even need personalized help reframing that trauma. I've got probably about 6 different exercises to release in more intense trauma. My email's right there. If you need help, I do offer one-on-one coaching for things that are more serious. But for this exercise, let's do something that's not ridiculously traumatizing, but a negative event. Got it? Okay. So let's take this negative event that has held you back, and I want you to imagine that it is a movie on a movie screen. Oh, my hands are really big there. Imagine that it's a movie on a movie screen. And I want you to pick actors to portray the characters in this event from the past. Pick famous people, pick random people, change the characters. Okay? Okay. So now, if this were a movie, now there's cameras everywhere, there's writers, there's directors, right? When it's a movie that you're watching with the actors out there on the screen, you have the ability to see what happened before. You have the ability to look at it from a bird's eye view. You have the ability to know what happened to the other person that was in this event. You could actually create a movie scene that what was that person doing the day before the event? You know, what kind of background did that character in the movie have? Right? So take a moment and imagine on this movie screen what scenes would play out with the other character. Let me give you some examples. You know, maybe it's an angry person at work that told you you were a worthless piece of crap. Okay. If this were a movie on the movie screen, maybe as we followed that character's life, maybe we would have noticed that his dad was an alcoholic, that he was beaten, that he was kicked, that he had a very traumatic upbringing. Maybe we would notice that he's a miserable human being. And maybe as the movie gets to the day of the event, of the traumatic event that we're talking about, maybe we would notice that somebody he loved betrayed him. And as he approaches this event, notice the emotional losses. Notice this character and what caused them to behave in that way. So now as you watch this event play out, it's not you, it's actors out there on the screen, and we go after the event, what's the moral of the story? How does the character use this circumstance? How does the character use this movie scene to transform their future? Okay, so maybe they lost their job. So maybe they decided to use that as an opportunity to create a new business, to educate themselves, to move to a different part of the country. This is your movie. You get to pick up anything that you choose, anything that you want. Maybe the actor learned something, you know, maybe he didn't necessarily do anything different, but what did they learn? You know, maybe not to put all your eggs in one basket. Maybe the main character learned to pay attention to red flags, to listen to their intuition, to whatever it is. You're the one that knows how this scene can be transformed so that they can manifest a new future. Got it? Okay. Okay, so now maybe you could leave another small comment that tells me what happened. How did that work for you? Did you find a new perspective? Now, keep in mind, we only did that in about 5 minutes. So if we took a little bit longer, if we took like a half an hour and we reframed it specifically for you, this could be more impactful. But the real point that I want you to see from this exercise is that you are the filter that gets to take the past, transform anything that happens so that you can manifest any future that you want. You are the lens. Okay, I hope you liked this video. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. As always, like I said, if there's any other topic that you'd like me to consider, if there's any other questions that you have, put that in the comments. I will make a video just for you. And I will talk to you soon. Mwah.